Here.
McGilvray,
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
Cavell,
Here.
Ginjo,
Here.
Kuhn,
Here.
Lubes.
Here. Thank you.
We have Powell and Nelson absent with notice.
Yes,
We have a quorum.
thank you. All right, it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item is approval of the minutes from October 19th. I have a motion by Commissioner McGilvray, support from Commissioner Cavell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Our next item is approval of the agenda. I have a motion by Commissioner Ginjo, support from Commissioner McGilvray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Our next item is public comment for items on the agenda. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment? All right, public comment is closed. On communications, we have two items, the intake disposition report from September 2021 and the grant application 2021-22 National School Lunch Program. Any comments? I need a motion to accept the items. Motion from Commissioner Hoffman, support from Commissioner Jackson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Is that, opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Well, we'll do it your way on the regular agenda. And so we're moving to the irregular agenda. Our first item is a grant acceptance from Health and Human Services Health Division 2022 SNAP Ed Programming. And we have Ms. Stafford here to speak to this. I have a motion by Commissioner McGilvray, support from Commissioner Jackson. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. So our SNAP Ed grant, this is a continuation. For 2022, we're getting just under 60,000. The majority of our SNAP Ed, actually all of our SNAP Ed initiatives are actually in the city of Pontiac. That's what we're funded for. And so this expanded program that will run until September of 2022 talks about implementing some curriculum and information in healthy communities in Pontiac, the schools. We're doing some new curriculum under My Garden in person or virtual if we need to. That talks about teaching kindergartners the importance of like maybe creating a garden or bringing together what it would be to create a garden, and so a lot of curriculum and implementation in the school districts, in the school district, should I say, Pontiac.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Commissioner Kuhn?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. There's been a slight decrease in funding. Has that affected the services at all?
No, what it may do is we might have to just kind of adjust our timing a little bit, but we're going to continue to offer the same programming that we have. And we do have a staff member that assists us with this, and so we might have to back off some of the planning, but overall the initiatives that we're working on have not changed.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, please prompt the roll call.
We have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item is a grant acceptance from Emergency Management Program in Homeland Security. I have a motion by Commissioner Hoffman, support from Commissioner Jackson. And Mr. Seeley?
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Rob Seeley, Chief of Emergency Management. So This is a grant that we've accepted in the county for 48 consecutive years. It pays a portion of one person's salary from Emergency Management Homeland Security Division. Currently, that's Director Hardesty's position, and that's what this acceptance is for. In the future, it will be my position.
Thank you. Any questions? Prompt the vote, please.
You have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
That was amazing. 48 years of tradition and continuity means something. Our next item is a grant acceptance, fiscal year 2022 Joint Terrorism Task Force. I have a motion from Commissioner Gingell, support from Commissioner McGilvery. And, welcome, thank you.
Hey, good morning. We have Gay up here, and myself, Major Chris Wondrak, and Major Curtis Childs here on behalf of the Sheriff's Office. This grant is our annual grant for the Joint Terrorism Task Force for the amount of $19,372. This funding pays for overtime for when our detectives get called in for investigations.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Kuhn?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. You have just one sergeant assigned?
Currently, yes.
Okay, are you planning to change that?
Not at this time, no. Yeah, we have him signed. He's assigned downtown. He responds to most of the community or any incidents here in Oakland County. So he's very beneficial to the task force when they have something here in Oakland County.
Thank you very much, sir.
Anything else? Please prompt the vote.
You have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that information. Our next item is also from the Sheriff's Office, the fiscal year 2022 Gang and Violent Crime Safe Streets Task Force.
Okay.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gingell, support from Commissioner McGilvery. Yeah, welcome back.
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
All right, this is another annual grant acceptance from the FBI. This supports our violent gang task force. We have 2 detectives involved in that, and this money will be used for overtime. And for those of you who are unaware, we collaborate with Auburn Hills, Bloomfield Township, Ferndale, Madison Heights, Novi, Southfield, Troy, and Waterford, and we house the task force here on the campus. And so the amount is for $19,372 for overtime cost.
Thank you. Commissioner McGilvery?
Yeah, just a question. Gang violence, is that growing, getting smaller? Where are we at?
It's pretty steady. This group focuses on different types of gangs, related to, we have armed robbery gangs, local street gangs in Pontiac, so they help in a wide variety of investigations.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Anyone else? Commissioner Cavell?
Yeah. Major, you've been talking about overtime.
Correct.
This sounds like something that's recurring. Can you kind of wax pros about that?
Well, we pay for the initial cost of the investigator to be part of the group. And any additional cost, like when they get called in after hours, the FBI will pick up their overtime tab.
But I mean, this is the second thing you're saying needs overtime to be funded, so I'm saying that there must be a problem with funding overtime. Is that a wrong assumption to make, just in general?
Well, it eases our burden of paying for the overtime. So the FBI chips in because we volunteer our man hours to the regular program.
So for overtime for staff, that must be a big line item, if this is like a recurring thing. Do you
Well,
have a
we're
guess?
24/7, so it's always,
Yeah.
overtime's always been.
Yeah.
Obviously, with this last budget, I think there was a note in there that the county administration had tried to true it up a little bit, so we'll see. Obviously, the pandemic has, added a whole other uncertainty. We have a ton of vacancies. The jail has to be staffed 24/7. Obviously, we just brought the resolution for double overtime to, hopefully reduce. We weekend force overtime. This is actually, so there's a letter in the packet from the FBI, so they actually give, each year they have this is their limit, at 19,372. So for every person, so basically that's just another source for us, that, hey, we're eligible for this, that's why we bring it through kind of as a grant, that they send us this notice of limits each year, and that each officer that participates in these task forces is eligible for that, so we're obviously going to take advantage of that.
Gotcha. How much do you spend every year on overtime guesstimating? Is it?
Are you talking about the whole department?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to give you guys like a softball of like
Oh.
overtime. There's a lot of that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot, so it depends. I want to say, off the top of my head, I'm going to say like 10 million.
Okay.
But
And
it
these
obviously
investigators
fluctuates,
are obviously different than corrections overtime or substation overtime,
Okay.
if it helps.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Please prompt the vote.
You have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion carries. Next two items also from the Sheriff's Department. The next one is Community Policing 2021 Development Microgrant Community Policing and Public Education Series. I have a motion by Commissioner Gingell, support from Commissioner Hoffman, and Sheriff and Ms. Pierre here again.
Okay, this is a brand-new grant, and what we're doing is we're going to create 2 10-week educational programs that are going to be offered to community leaders and citizens, and we're going to cover a wide variety of topics like de-escalation, implicit bias, response to resistance, mental health, and reform initiatives. And what it's going to be like a Citizens Academy. We plan to do it on Mondays from 6 till 9 p.m., and it's going to be open to the public. And this grant money will allow us to run the program and pay for some of the material and supplies to do the program.
Thank you. So how would someone, so it would be open to anyone in Oakland County or community leaders?
Well, citizens and community leaders, and our biggest goal here is to bring people together, talk about some of our problems, help educate the public on what we do, and help us learn from the public of what policies work with them. So we're going through the motions right now. We're going to start off with 15 people for our first session, work out all the bugs, then we can accommodate up to 25 people at a time, so.
I like that idea. Commissioner Hoffman?
I just want to thank you guys and compliment you. I think this is a great program. I think it's needed, and thanks again.
Well, thank you.
Well, we have a stellar training unit, and this is their idea, so.
And Commissioner Jackson?
I just want to kind of echo the same type of comments, and I know that this type of program would be excellent for the community and for the law enforcement officers on staff, because there's a divide. So this can maybe help traverse that divide. Thank you.
And we're trying to bring everybody together, so we thank you.
Commissioner Cavell?
Yeah, I want to echo what everyone's saying. This is a great thing. Is this the first year you're doing it, or first? Okay.
Yeah.
So would love to hear what happens when you do the first round. And I think this is worth thinking about in future. If it's $25,000, shoot, maybe we bolster the funding if it goes well, and the sheriff's office deems it worthy, because there's 1.2 million of us, so that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also the training department's 7 people, right?
Currently, yes.
For 1,300 officers, so that's another thing for us to maybe think about. 1,300 officers, 7 trainers.
It's very lean. And so this is, obviously, we're paying overtime for this because we couldn't, and I think Commissioner Charles had sent a separate email asking about using overtime, and that was the reason. Obviously, they can't handle that in their normal workload, because obviously they're training our whole agency. So we thought this was a great idea. We haven't had a lot of opportunities for competitive grants in recent years, and so we were really, it was a really nice change this year that all of them, of course, they all came at the same time, and we couldn't take advantage of all of them, but this was one of them that we applied for the very first time and got funding, and we're very thankful.
Commissioner McGilvery?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I advocated for community policing many years ago when I was on the local level. It could never get done because there was not enough budget to be able to do anything. I think it's a terrific idea. I went to a training class in San Antonio, Texas, all about community policing, and I think it's a great idea. but it's important that the sheriff deputies and the local police weigh in and be a part of it. Otherwise, we can talk to folks out on the street all the time, but unless the officers buy into it, that's going to be important. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call, please, or prompt the roll. Time to vote.
Whatever.
Hit the button.
Yes.
We have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion carries. Next item from the Sheriff's Department is the 2021 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. A motion by Commissioner McGilvery, support from Commissioner Hoffman. Here you are.
All right. This is another annual grant. We do it every year. This year's amount will be for $74,513. We are sharing this with several other county departments, Circuit Court, Community Corrections, Children's Village, and the Prosecutor's Office will all get a portion of the grant.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Please prompt the vote.
We have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Time with us. Our last item on the agenda is a grant acceptance, fiscal year 2022 Michigan Drug Court Grant Program. We have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, support from Commissioner Kuhn. And this is a grant acceptance from the 52nd Ward District Court, which is in Troy. So we have Dana O'Neill and Patricia Bates here.
Good morning. Thank you for having us this morning. Patty and I are obviously in my office, so we have our masks on. Let us know if you can't hear. I'm actually going to turn it over to Patty Bates. She is our drug court coordinator who applies and accepts the grant on behalf of our judges and her department.
Thank you.
Good morning. I would like to first thank Aaron Snover for taking his time and helping me put this on Civics Plus for the first time. And Sharon Kessler from Corp Counsel for assisting in the actual contract and giving us the ability to stay on today's agenda.
Thank you. Yeah, we feel your pain with Civic Clerk. That was a learning lesson for us all also.
He's a saint.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So our grant is, this is, I believe, our 8th year in receiving the grant from the State Court Administrator's Office to fund our specialty court, our problem-solving court. We, again, are receiving $120,000, and that will go towards testing, treatment. This year, we were able to secure through Oakland County Health Network a peer recovery coach, and that has worked out beautifully, and it's a real benefit to our program.
Thank you. Any questions regarding this? Oh, Commissioner Kuhn?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of questions. You indicated in the some of the documentation that there was a need for a criminogenic risk assessment tool. Can you talk a little bit about that and what the need is?
So the criminogenic risk assessment tool measures when what the outcome is if they're going to be back into the system. What those factors are could be their family ties, criminal history, employment, ties to the community. We have a tool called the NEEDS that assesses for some of those things, but is not considered a risk assessment tool. And we have had some issue in gaining that, in that we don't receive enough funding to pay for its continued use, or we don't receive enough funding to get the actual training to use even a free one. But that's something I've been working on with the State Court Administrator's Office in order to obtain that, and hopefully be able to, all the district courts can also use that program.
Okay, so at the moment, you don't have adequate funding to use that program. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you mentioned in there that part of it was to create a multi-track program. Can you tell us what that's about?
Sure. So some of our, as you would guess, some of our participants are higher need than others. And some are, we're considered a hybrid. So we don't base it on charge, it's based on need. But we have people in the program that might have a cocaine problem. We have people in the program that might have a heroin problem. We have women in the program, men in the program, and all of them come with their own special needs. And in a multi-track program, we can kind of divide those programs up so they're getting the specific attention that they need.
Okay, and so, but at this point, you don't have that program, or is that something you're looking to institute at some time in the future? Or can you explain that?
That's something that we've been looking into.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Commissioner Cavell?
Thank you, Chair. I just have a question since y'all are from the 52s talking about specialty courts. I was talking to Alexandra Black about the mental health court or the planning grant. There was that scale gave y'all. Do you know anything about that or when that's going to come before us?
I don't think that they're going to be on an agenda item until later in the month. As Patty indicated, we had kind of a contract language issue that came up between Corp Counsel and SCAO just within the past week or so. So everyone, luckily not us, we were able to get it expedited with everyone's help, but everyone's kind of in the stage of getting new MOUs signed before they can appear in front of the board. So I believe it's November 30th that the other sobriety courts and the mental health court grants will be in front of you.
Okay, but they're all good, right? It was a language issue. It's not a program issue.
Correct. The grant itself and the programming and funding is secure. It's a legal language type concern that Corp Counsel identified.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Please prompt the vote.
We have 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks for all your
Thank
work.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last regularly scheduled item on our agenda. Next is public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment?
Hello.
Hello. Thank you.
All right, I'm Deanna Jamil from Walled Lake. I'm sure you guys know me by now. Been here a few times. I'm going to share my credentials again just to give you my background. My master's in social work. Worked for Child Protective Services in Wayne County for 5 years. 2 of those were in Highland Park, Michigan. So I'm speaking on the mask mandates. I know you guys are probably getting sick of hearing it, but we're going to keep talking about it until something happens. I wanted to quote some scripture from Philippians. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble. Thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. I feel like the parents are being just dismissed at all these meetings, and frankly, it's pretty unprofessional what's been happening too. This is my second time seeing Leanne Stafford virtually at these meetings. However, she doesn't appear at any of the board meetings. That's a paid position, correct? Leanne Stafford is paid. I feel like she's failing us. She's failing our community. I'm sure she knows that we are speaking out against this mandate. And I just ask that you guys help us out a little bit and maybe talk to her about maybe showing face, or if she doesn't feel comfortable coming in person, be virtual like she has been asking for money at these meetings. I understand this committee does not have the authority to change the mandate, but I'm urging you guys to please at least discuss it. Discuss what we want. We just want a choice. I don't think we're asking for that much. Again, these are our children. I do not co-parent with the government. And what is happening, I feel like little by little, rights just keep getting stripped, and that's not what I became a parent for you guys to make the decisions. Also, I noticed a few people, I think it was Commissioner Lubes and Commissioner Nelson, had voted in this committee to hear the Coach and Durfer resolution, but then when it got brought up at the board meeting, they decided to not. I just don't understand how you can say something or vote yes, and then at the board meeting, you vote no. It's nice to see your face today, Mr. McGilvery. Hopefully, I can see it more at the meetings, too. It's nice that you have a choice to take your mask off, but our kids do not. I think I've pretty much said my piece for today, so thank you. Again, I'm just urging you guys, please, at least discuss this mandate. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Catherine Kennedy from Lake Orion again. Nice to see your smiling faces at this hour. I really hope and pray that this board stands for what's right, stands for the people, all the people, not just the ones that agree with their partisan agenda. And this has been a huge problem in our country, not just this county. Our entire country has failed in math, I would tell you. They are using division against people instead of actually doing math. And we're imposing all these extra programs and all this debt on our citizens. And those of you who think you're actually helping the low-income citizens by enabling the open border to help all these other people, it's not how it works. What is really happening is those cartels are getting stronger and stronger by the day, and those poor migrants are selling off all their assets to have the potential opportunity to come to our country. Yet we have thousands of people, maybe millions, I have no idea. I know of several people that were here 6 and 7 years doing the correct process from foreign countries and have been patiently awaiting their opportunity to become a citizen. It's absolutely unfair to everyone if the borders are not strengthened and if this county does not stand up for the citizens. The law-abiding citizens cannot be the ones that are trampled on at the bottom. But that's how it's going right now. And we cannot accept this. So until it changes, this is not going to be an acceptable situation no matter what. And I really hope and pray that the people can understand that the American citizens have to be placed priority. It's their tax dollars, it's their debt. Every single citizen, whether they pay taxes or not, has an $86,000 credit card debt in effect that the federal government has placed in our pockets. And that's for the non-taxpayers. The taxpayers actually are indebted $228,000 if you divide it up. This is irresponsible, and it doesn't help anyone because all the wasteful spending and all these Medicare programs and all this social agenda, all it's doing is creating more and more and more debt. And our federal savings account, by the way, is negative $29 trillion with a T. Negative. We have no federal savings. We should. We have plenty of people that pay into the government. And it's just a misconception that all these things are people are being lied to flat out. I don't know any other way to put it. The people of this country are being absolutely lied to by people that are supposed to be in leadership positions for their own political gains and contrary to what's best for the citizens as a whole. We need to work together. You know, I don't understand how so many Americans are so anti-American now. It's like social indoctrination has taken over in the internet or through, I'm not sure how. But it has to stop. It has to change. And we could be the turning point. We can be the catalyst that sets it right. We have smart people in this county. We have been leaders in the country before. Why would we lead to the bottom? Why would we lead to mediocrity? We need to make sure people understand it is about having the opportunity for self-determination in this country. And those who want to come to this country is because we are law-abiding, not because we're corrupt. So it's critically important that all laws are adhered to no matter what, whether it's the border, whether it's the right to choose to be the parent for your child. These have to become, the personal responsibility has to be regained in this country. Thank you.
Thank you for staying for our meeting. Is there any other business to come before this? Oh, public comment is closed. Is there any other business to come before this meeting? Commissioner Gingell?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I'd like to welcome our new committee members. I think it must be Jackson and McGilvery for this committee. It had been previously Powell and Nelson, isn't that correct?
We were all on this committee. For this term, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just not here today.
Paul is still on the committee, she's just not here today.
Okay.
Kristen Nelson is not on this.
So on the original board rules, the committee assignments, all the names were on the committee, because normally if committee assignments change, it requires a vote of the full board for that to occur. And I was saying I didn't recognize, I mean, I'm happy you're here, so.
They haven't changed. We've been here from the,
I haven't missed a meeting, so I don't.
so maybe it's you.
Maybe it's not.
Usually he has a mascot.
Yeah, no, that's not it. I'll have to do a little more research,
Yeah.
but I
We've
know
been
that
here.
Powell and Nelson generally have been here too, so.
Yeah, they have, man.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you. All right, at 11:32, I will adjourn the meeting of the Public Health and Safety Committee. Thank you, everybody.